Hello there, welcome back to Self-Publishing Help, where I walk you through the basics of doing a book interior. So today I thought I would take on the table of contents. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is decide what I want in my table of contents. So I set up a few different chapter numbers and titles. I've just got 4 here. And I've decided that in my table of contents I want the chapter name. So you can see that I went ahead and already made my chapter name into a heading if you look up in the bar here. But let's add a couple of chapters and I'll show you how I do that. I just wanted a few different chapters so you could see more than one showing up on the table of contents when we get ready to create the table of contents. So Control Enter will take you to a new page, and I'm going to make this chapter 5, and let's call it Pride and Prejudice. And I'll just change the font on this so it's consistent with the others. I think I used Constantia. So I've decided that my chapter titles are the only things that are going to be on the table of contents. So that's the only thing that I'll highlight and then go up to this bar up here. Right now it's set as text body, but I want to choose heading 1. And I'll center it. And it actually kept my font. It usually changes the font to Arial and then I have to change it back. So that's one way to do it. You can start fresh. Let's look at an easier way. So what I'll typically do is once I get my setup, you can see here, this is my chapter opener page. So down at the bottom, this is the formatting for the page as chapter opener. And here I've already highlighted this and set it to heading 1. So this is the chapter opener page the way I would want it. And what's easiest for me is just to highlight, copy, and then I've got my formatting all set. I've got the spacing consistent. And then it's just very easy to start a new chapter. So chapter 5, Control Enter. And when I hit paste, you can see that it changed from right page to chapter opener. So now my formatting is set up to be consistent. That's just very easy. And then I just quickly go through and change the chapter number, change the title. Then my fonts are all the same. The spacing's consistent. And let's call this one Of Mice and Men. Oops, ammed. So now I've got 6 chapters, and you can see this automatically because I just copied and pasted. This chapter title is already set as heading 1. So that's typically how I start a new chapter, just because it's easy and I'm lazy. So I have all my chapters, the titles labeled as heading 1. Now let's go back to the table of contents page, and we will create that table. So I'll get rid of that. I just had that to mark the page I was going to use. So creating a table of contents in a paperback, which is the formatting that we're working on right now, is very simple. It's just a matter of going up to Insert, and we want indexes and tables. Again, indexes and tables. And table of contents pops up automatically. Now the first thing I do is I uncheck protected against manual changes because I want to be able to make manual changes. So I'll uncheck that. And then I give my chapter pages a title. You can stick with table of contents. I might often use, oh, hit something wrong there. That's not unusual. Okay, so I'm back on the page I wanted. Back to insert. Indexes and tables, indexes and tables. Well, there, now you can watch it happen twice. So let's call it chapters. And if you look at entries, you can see that it's set for level 1. And remember that I set all the chapter titles as heading 1. And so that's what will show up. You can do the different levels if for some reason you have other headings that you want to label as headings for some reason. But I typically just stick with heading 1, and my table of contents entries is just level 1. And when we get into doing ebooks, we'll start messing with all this stuff over here. But I never go into this for paperback table of contents. They're very straightforward. So, okay, we're ready to go. Let's see what happens. There we go. We have a table of contents. Now, the reason that I unchecked the box that said protect from manual changes is because I'm going to want to make this more artistic. So let's give these some different fonts. I think I'll go with the font that I was using for the chapter titles. I like that one, that's pretty. And I'll use the one I was using for the chapter numbers. Now, because I only included the titles, I would probably want to go through and number these, and you just do that manually, just typing on your keyboard. And I'm not sure what happened to Pride and Prejudice. I think I highlighted a little bit too much. Let's just go check out what I did with that chapter, why it looks different than the others. I think I must have highlighted some space or something. Yeah, it looks like. So I'm just going to backspace. So you can see I'm several spaces below the chapter title, and it's still set as heading 1, so what I can do is just backspace out of that. And that should have fixed the issue. And this is going to be an important feature that you'll want to. So in order to fix this, all I have to do is right click, and the right click will bring up this menu, and I want update index table. And typically I like to do my table of contents the very last thing in the book, because otherwise you're constantly updating your table because your page numbers may have changed as you're editing. You might add a page, you might even take out an entire chapter or add a chapter. So the table of contents is always going to be changing. Of course, the page numbers come up automatically. So once I have the book entirely completed, that's usually when I'll go through and make my table of contents, because otherwise you're updating it all the time, and as you can see, every time you update, you lose whatever formatting you gave it. So let's just try a little different way to do it. So here I just wanted to have my chapter 1 separated from my chapter title, just for aesthetics. But as long as you have everything all on one line, or it doesn't actually have to be all on one line, but as long as you haven't hit enter, everything that you highlight and choose as heading 1 will show up in your table of contents. And back again to update index table. And now you can see, now I have my chapter 1, A Tale of Two Cities. So maybe if I didn't want to say that it was a chapter, I just wanted to have the number 1, the chapter number. That's a fairly typical way to do it too. I mean, it's entirely up to you. It's just a matter of author preference and how you want your chapter opener page to look. But that's the very basic table of contents that you can do for your paperback book. So thanks for watching. I will leave the link for my website in the description where you can check that out if you just would like to pay somebody to do your book formatting for you. I offer that as a service on my website. And again, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.